All right, I picked all 272 regular season games for the upcoming NFL season. Let's break down all 32 teams. Kicking it off here with the NFC East. Let's hop right on into it. Okay, starting off hot here, maybe the darling story of the NFL last season, the Washington Commanders, 12-5, a fantastic playoff run led by arguably the greatest rookie season ever by a quarterback in Jaden Daniels. Get to the NFC Championship game, ultimately lose to their division rival, Philadelphia Eagles. And they did a really good job early in the offseason to attack some team needs. They trade for Laramie Tunsil. They trade for Deebo Samuel. Maybe not as good as he used to be, but still, the AI generated thick videos, not necessarily true. They get Javon Kinlaw. They draft Josh Corley to upgrade on that offensive line, but they did take some hits on the interior of that defense. They lose Jonathan Allen. Even though he missed a good chunk of time, he was impactful massively in that Detroit Lions game. You lose Diami Brown, you lose Jeremy Chin, but you also just traded away Brian Robinson. Now it's up to Bill. I guess they're going to trust Bill in the backfield and Austin Eckler, but I really hated how they've handled the Terry McLaurin situation. Terry McLaurin has been a outstanding member of this organization, even when they were a dumpster fire, no quarterbacks, no direction, nothing. He's been a good soldier out there, and he just wants to get paid, get some more guaranteed money. Now he is 30 years old, sneakily old out there, but this team just reeks of we had some massive success. We built some great collateral within the fan base, within the organization, but we're just throwing that all away. We don't want the guys we didn't draft, the guys we didn't sign. This reeks of a team that is going to take a step back this year. I think the sophomore slump will be real for Jaden Daniels. We always see it a little bit. Defensive coordinators have an entire offseason to game plan, and their schedule is also much more difficult this year. They play a second place schedule. It's going to be harder to navigate, and they were unbelievable last year, incredibly good on fourth down, historic stuff. You're just not going to be that good on fourth down again. Things are going to get a little weird out there. I don't love the way they've ended up ultimately handling their offseason, especially with your own players. You got to pay your guys in the locker room and not guys that aren't on the team. It's just bad culture setting. This reeks of a step back. I do think the Commanders are still going to be good, but I think a couple of balls and fourth downs don't quite bounce their way. I got them taking a step back here. Maybe the hottest take, I got them going 9-8 this season and ultimately missing the playoffs. And if you didn't know, most of the viewers on this channel are not yet subscribed, 90+% of you guys, and most of y'all are first-time viewers. So if you're brand new here, welcome. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you're liking this content. It really helps the channel out a lot. All right, we have the Dallas Cowboys, 7-10 last year. They fire Mike McCarthy, and a good chunk of that was without Dak Prescott. He's coming back this year, so that is some positive signs, obviously, but in steps Brian Schottenheimer as the head coach, and this is just a bizarre hire. Really wasn't even wanted as an offensive coordinator for most of the teams in this league. It feels like his era has gone past him as far as being a head coach, but some name recognition for Jerry. I don't think that name's going to carry any weight in the locker room. I don't think anybody knows who his dad really even was, the guy's playing today, but Jerry also wants a guy he can control, and that fits Schottenheimer perfectly. Now, they did add some nice pieces in the draft. They add running back Jaden Blue, guard Tyler Booker, and pass rusher Donovan Ezeriku out of Boston College. I think that attacks some positional needs, but the running back position is still kind of a crapshoot. We really don't know who's going to be the running back here. They lose Rico Dowdle, who was their leading rusher last year. It's just kind of weird. I think this is going to be a very potent passing attack, though, because they traded for George Pickens. Look, George Pickens is a lunatic. He's a crazy person. He is a ticking time bomb, but he is still one of the best contested catch guys in the NFL. You pair him with CeeDee Lamb. You have a solid tight end in Jake Ferguson, and Dak's back. I think this is going to be potentially a good passing offense. But could Schottenheimer be in over his head if things don't go perfectly right? Maybe outcoach lots of weeks. And there are now some serious questions on the offensive line. There were already questions, but they're racking up injuries across it. And I think the biggest thing right now is the Micah Parsons situation. This defense was not good last year by any stretch. They are getting Trayvon Diggs back from the pup. He should be ready to go week 1, maybe week 2 out there. But Mike is your best impactful player on the defensive side of the ball. And this contract situation has gone from weird to dragged out to just completely bizarre. I think things are going to get really ugly in Dallas, especially if we get Dak Prescott picking up an injury here or there. It could get really bad with head coach Brian Schottenheimer. He is not a professional like Mike McCarthy. Make fun of Mike McCarthy all you want. He wins a lot of football games, and he keeps stability on teams. So I have the Cowboys going 6-10 here. Not quite bad enough to completely blow it up, but also not good enough like the Cowboy fans are used to completely ruin their season. So 6-10, probably a good outcome here for Cowboy fans, and I expect maybe another one and done at the head coaching position. All right, we got the New York Football Giants, 3-14 last season. They finally move on from quarterback Daniel Jones. Giants fans rejoice. Now, it was a tough year last year watching the division rival Eagles win the Super Bowl with their former star Saquon Barkley, but I actually really liked what the Giants did in the draft. They draft Abdul Carter out of Penn State, the best pass rusher in the draft. They add quarterback Jackson Dart, who's looked really sharp in the preseason, and they add running back Cam Scatabo out of Arizona State. Now, he's been dealing with a little bit of an injury in camp, but I think he's going to be a great backup for Tyrone Tracy. And Dart doesn't have to play. Had some nice flash in the preseason because they signed Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. Now, Winston's more of a vibes guys, and I think Wilson's definitely going to be the starter for this team to start out. And I think that the Giants are actually going to be a competitive football team. They add so much to that defensive line. They also signed Darius Alexander. This is a really, really good defensive line. You already have Dexter Lawrence, one of the best interior guys in the league. They are going to be a handful to deal with up front, wreck games on people. Now, the rest of the team is going to be a little bit of a question mark, but the run game was pretty solid last year, and I do trust Brian Daboll to really get the most out of any quarterback that he has left. Daniel Jones clearly has nothing left, even if he's going to start in Indianapolis. He's looked atrocious. I think they're going to control the offense, play a slow, methodical pace, kind of like what Russell Wilson likes to do, and he's going to allow for a little bit of creativity, even though Russell can't quite do it what he used to. Daboll allows for that stuff. I mean, look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a creative type backfield creator at quarterback. So I think everything's going to work out. In worst case scenario, Jackson Dart comes in, and if he shows flashes like he's shown in the preseason, I do think everybody keeps their jobs somehow in New York. They're just going to keep dragging this thing along. I think this is going to be a competitive Giants team, have some upsets this season, but ultimately, what's the ceiling? I just don't think there's enough talent on this football team quite yet. Now, maybe they make a change at GM. They get rid of Gettleman. I'm going to go Giants here, 6-10 for the season, and I do have them finishing in third place ahead of the Cowboys thanks to some tiebreakers. Okay, and finally, our defending Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles, 14-3 last year. They won the division. They bring home the title after dominating the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. And this was kind of a big offseason for the Eagles. They lost a ton of pieces from that Super Bowl team, as one does when you win the Super Bowl. That's just how it goes in this league. They lose Mekhi Becton, who had a really strong impact on the offensive line. CJ Gardner-Johnson, Brandon Graham retires. Isaiah Rodgers leaves. Darius Slay is gone. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams. It's just pieces after pieces. So they're going to have to rely on their incredible drafting GM, Howie Roseman. Now, they added some pieces. They get Kenyon Green to fill that guard spot, add Adoree Jackson into that secondary. They draft linebacker Jahad Campbell, who's arguably the number one linebacker in the draft, and they draft safety Andrew Makuba from Texas, who's already had an impact in the offseason, and that's what the Eagles are approaching here. They got to refresh that defensive line, but they keep attacking this secondary with lots of new and young pieces the last two drafts. I think this is going to be still a very good team, and something we probably haven't seen in over 20 years or 20 plus years in this division, and we're probably going to see back-to-back division wins for a franchise. I like the Eagles to repeat as NFC East champions. I'm not high on the Commanders this year. And the schedule really isn't that bad for a first place team. I just think Philly's got this kind of built infrastructure that, as much as I want to hate Nick Sirianni, wins a lot of football games. He's a rah guy. They seem to attack their coordinator positions, fix it. This Vic Fangio defense, he knows what the hell he's doing here. And it's just all the pieces are in play. Saquon Barkley's probably going to have a little bit of a down year compared to last year, because last year was an all-time running back year, but you still have very good wide receivers, and you maybe have unlocked something with Jalen Hurts. We see the confidence growing game by game. Is he ever going to be an elite passer of the football? No, but he's going to take care of the football. He's going to grind teams to dust with this offense behind a fantastic offensive line still. Now, there's some question marks. Lane Johnson picked up an injury. Not a disaster, though, so Eagles overall, I think, are going to be completely fine. I have them taking a little step back as far as record-wise here, because I just think, you know what? You lose some games. The ball bounced their way last season quite a bit. It's just not going to be as perfect. That's how the NFL works. But with that being said, I have the Eagles going 13-4 and winning the division for back-to-back seasons. All right, so here are our division standings. I have the Eagles winning the division and as the 1 seed in the NFC. The Commanders in second, missing the playoffs at 9-8. Giants in third, and Cowboys in fourth. So be sure to tune in tomorrow for our AFC West as we break down every single division leading up to our season kickoff on Thursday, September 4th. It's going to be a lot of fun. Again, if you haven't already, drop a quick like on this video, subscribe to the channel, make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of this great NFL content for the upcoming season, as we will have live long-form content every single day of the football season. So be sure to stop back in. Again, like, subscribe, and share, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.